Hello. Welcome to Christ Church, Philadelphia. It's so good of you to come and to visit. Let me introduce myself. I'm William White. I'm the rector here at Christ Church, and I'm many other things as well. You see, I'm also the Bishop of Pennsylvania. In fact, I'm the first Bishop of Pennsylvania, and I'm also the presiding bishop of our new church, the Episcopal Church. You like the name? We just picked it out at our general convention a little ways back. You see, after the War of Independence, things got a little confusing here church-wise. We'd always looked to England to provide our clergy and to give us guidance, and now we were on our own. And many of the clergy were loyal to England, and so when the British left, they left too. So we had to figure out how we were going to be a church and what we could do to make sure that our church would exist. So, while my friends, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and the rest were figuring out a constitution for our country, I was working with others to create a constitution for our church. Oh, you didn't know that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, and other folks at the Continental Congress were my friends? Well, that's another one of my jobs. I was chaplain to the Continental Congress. I was the chaplain from right through the war on until they moved the Congress to New York City. And now they're about to move the Congress down to the new Capitol that they're building in Washington City. But it's kind of an interesting story how I got the job chaplain. When I was ordained a priest in 1772, I came here to Christ Church as the assistant. And my boss at the time was the rector, and he was the chaplain to the Congress. And he was very in favor of the Revolution, right up until the British marched into Philadelphia. Then he changed sides. And when they left, so did he. So vestry asked me to be the rector here at Christ Church, and the Congress asked me to be the chaplain. And since I was the only cleric in Pennsylvania who was in favor of the Revolution, I became the chaplain of the Continental Congress from 1777 to 1789. Now, once we gained our independence from England, we had to figure out how to be a church without any help from England. There were no dioceses when we were colonies, so I proposed that each state hold a convention of lay and clergy delegates, because I wanted the lay folks to have a say in our new church. And then each convention could send representatives to a national general convention. And that's what we did. In 1785, we met as the House of Deputies. I was made the president, and we met to consider how we were going to set up this new church. Now, we also had to figure out how we were going to get bishops here in our new country. One of the fellows up Connecticut way was elected to be bishop and went to England and asked the English bishops to ordain him as a bishop, but they wouldn't do it because they asked to swear allegiance to the king, and he said no. So he went to Scotland and was ordained a bishop there. Well, then folks around here decided that they needed the bishop, and so they elected me. And so I went to England along with Samuel Prevost from New York, and this time the English bishops did ordain us, and we were ordained bishop in 1787. Then in 1789, we had our second General Convention, and we put into place all the things that I had been working on for so long. Things like a two-house legislative body, the House of Deputies and the House of Bishops. You know, the House of Deputies is actually the senior house because it's older than the House of Bishops, having been established in 1785. The House of Bishops wasn't established until 1789, when we finally had bishops. And we came up with our new name, Episcopal, meaning of bishops. And I was made presiding bishop. And I will probably be presiding bishop until I die, just like being rector here at Christ Church. You know, it's kind of interesting being a bishop. But the other bishops give me a bad time because I'm not like them sitting in their churches waiting for people to come to them. No, I got on my horse and made a couple trips out west, out where the land is wild and untamed, out where people are setting up new establishments on the frontier, like Pittsburgh and other towns along the Ohio River. But I've been kept pretty busy here in Philadelphia as well. I'm the president of the Philadelphia Dispensary to give medical aid to the poor, and I've also been working with the Pennsylvania Institute for the Deaf and the Mute and the Philadelphia Society for Alleviating the Miseries of Public Prisons. Isn't that a mouthful? But my new favorite thing is this brand new idea called Sunday school. You see, the children have to go to work at such a young age now, we hardly have any chance to educate them. But thankfully, Sunday is a day of rest, and they don't have to go to work. And so, after services, we set up classes, and the children then can learn reading and writing and arithmetic. You see, Sunday school. Now, you never know how the Lord is going to use you. It kind of reminds me of that gospel story where Jesus sends out the 12 disciples to heal and to teach. Well, that's what we're trying to do here. And maybe you are too. I guess you never know exactly what God has in store for you. Here, I thought I would be just a simple parish priest in Philadelphia. But I found that if you put yourself in God's hands, everything will come out all right. Well, I'm going to have to go now. Our first meeting of the Sunday school is coming up, and I don't want to miss it. So thank you again for coming. I hope the next time that you're in Philadelphia, you'll come and visit again. Goodbye.